Chapter 634. Nancian was speechless. Sponsored content. Why did he feel that he had put himself in a very bad position because of his past actions? Qingzhu could not help but snort. It was clear that Qingzhu took pleasure in Nancian's misfortune. Nancian looked at Qingzhu coldly. Qingzhu did not hold itself back in time, and it froze mid-laugh. Master, will you believe me if I said that I laughed out loud because a spirit beast has farted just now? Advertisement, yes. Nancian expressionlessly grabbed Qingzhu's tail, then walked out of the forest. He acted like he was holding a dead snake. He was not even bothered by Qingzhu's hysterical cries and shouts. Young girl. Jiuming smiled wickedly. He moved closer to Feng Ruqing and whispered in her ears. He sounded happy. We're almost done here. They'll meet you when we're back at Luyan Kingdom. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing frowned slightly. She subconsciously took 2 steps back. Jiuming's smile turned grim. Young girl, I don't eat human. Why are you so afraid of me? I don't like people getting near me except the state preceptor. I get goosebumps. Jiuming's lips twitched. He could not keep his smile on any longer. Advertisement. He was infuriated by Nancian just now. Even this young girl is like that. I'm really jealous of him. Feng Ruqing seemed to realize that she was rather harsh toward Jiuming. She laughed awkwardly. I didn't mean that. It's just that I had acted instinctively. It's true. Sponsored content. Jiuming's facial expression worsened after looking at Feng Ruqing's facial expression. What if I treat you as a woman in the future? It's fine as long as you don't get too close to me. I can't help that. If you closer just now, I might not have been able to control my hand either. I might slap you. That wouldn't be too nice. Feng Ruqing would feel pressured if Jiuming liked men instead. At least, she could treat him as a woman. Advertisement. She just could not control herself whenever others got close to her. Except the state preceptor. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. The state preceptor was the only one who could get close to her. Feng Ruqing never thought that she would slap the state preceptor when she was drunk for the first time. It was because the state preceptor got too close to her, and she could not control her instinctive response at all. Nancian walked toward them, and he soon felt relaxed when he heard what Feng Ruqing had said. There was a soft smile on his handsome face. Where's Shaoqing? Feng Ruqing looked at Nancian. She was rather shocked when she did not see Qingzhu with Nancian. I threw it away. Advertisement. Nancian's voice was calm. He was only gentle when he looked at Feng Ruqing. Oh. Feng Ruqing did not say much. The snake would surely crawl back to them stubbornly no matter how they threw it out in the first place. Sponsored content. These spirit beasts. Feng Ruqing was quiet for a short while. Then, she turned and looked at the spirit beasts. Do you want to go back to my place with me? The spirit beasts shook their heads after some consideration. They were used to living in the forest. They could not stay in the Princess Manor. Moreover, their family members were buried there. They were unwilling to leave the forest of spirit beasts. Feng Ruqing smiled softly. I won't force you if you want to stay. Later, you can line up and sign the contract with me. You can work for me in the forest of spirit beasts. But I need to give a warning to the reclusive world. Nobody can do anything to the forest of spirit beasts. Advertisement. Chapter 635. She was afraid that a war might erupt again if the spirit beasts were left behind in the forest of spirit beasts. Sponsored content. The forest of spirit beasts would not be able to endure the consequences of humans' greed. 9th. Ill stay and guard the forest of spirit beasts. The black dragon ran toward Feng Ruqing respectfully. Feng Ruqing glanced at it. You're the reason behind all of these incidents. How can you guard the forest of spirit beasts for me? Advertisement. That's because I've just made a breakthrough. My body is weak. It'll be fine if I could rest for a while. You can ask Fuchun to stay with me. I will recover faster if he is here with me. He'll beat anybody up for you when I've recovered. Fuchun did not say anything. He bit his lip. Sponsored content. His leaves could definitely help the black dragon to heal its body. But it was difficult for his leaves to grow. The black dragon was born from the surrounding spiritual qi. He could surely grow his leaves more easily by staying with the black dragon. Initially, it was the reason why the 9th Emperor had brought the black dragon back so that it could stay with Fuchun. Mother, it'll stay. Fu Chun raised his head and grabbed onto Feng Ruqing's sleeves with hard feelings. He was reluctant to leave Feng Ruqing behind. He'll come back to you when the Black Dragon has recovered. Advertisement fine. Sponsored content. Fu Chun was not an ordinary child. He was an old living monster who had lived for 1,000 years. So, Feng Ruqing was not worried about him. Then, well, leave now. It seems that Hong Yu has settled the things here. Feng Ruqing smiled calmly. There was a sparkle in her eyes. Nancian was still staying with Feng Ruqing. They went out of the forest together. Juming looked at them quietly, but he did not follow behind them. He walked in the other direction. The people who were imprisoned in the cages despaired. Advertisement-sponsored content. They realized that everything was over now. Big Black. Fu Chun turned and looked at Big Black. How did you survive that year? Big Black was sacrificed that year for the sake of protecting them. After that, it had turned into spiritual and disappeared from the world. 1,000 years have gone by. Why are you still so stupid? The Black Dragon snorted. I'm born from the surrounding spiritual chi. Even if I die, I'll become spiritual chi too. I'll definitely be born again if you give me some time. It's just that I need to start all over again. In short, I'm immortal. Okay. Fu Chun lowered his eyes. Is Mother really the 9th Emperor? Then, is Father the person we knew? You were quite young at that time. It's normal for you to not recognize her. But, she's everything to me. She's my life. I'll never forget her in my whole life. There were some sparks in the Black Dragon's eyes. But, he gritted his teeth when he thought about Nancian. But, I never thought that she would still be seduced by that man. Advertisement. Fu Chun became nervous. Is it really him? He had never met him back then. But, the 9th Emperor had talked about him so much in front of them. That man was the 9th Emperor's true love. But, they never thought that they were still together after all these years. 9th is indeed very weak now. Even that man is stronger than her. The Black Dragon bit its lip. It sneered. 1,000 years ago, 9th brought him back from the outside. She wanted him to do some errands for her. But, who would have guessed that the man would seduce 9th? 9th could not withstand that attraction and fell deeply in love with him. It was so annoying. If I had known earlier, I would definitely transform into a human figure so that I could seduce 9th. Then, I might be the one who would be enjoying higher status than what I have now. Chapter 636. It was snatched away by another person who arrived after that. Sponsored content. Fu Chun glanced at the Black Dragon. Mother doesn't like dragons. You're a dragon, not me. Your whole family is of the dragon species. I'm a dog. I'll transform myself into a dog next time when I can do that. Little 9th will surely like me. Why don't you transform into a human? The Black Dragon did not know how to respond to that. Advertisement. Its facial expression worsened. I'll transform myself into a human when I'm stronger. Who wants to be a dog? Little 9th is fond of beautiful people. Why don't I transform myself into a man and seduce her? Little Fu Chun. The Black Dragon narrowed its eyes. Is there any spirit beast who will compete with me for Little 9th's attention? Sponsored content. The Black Dragon was a dragon anyway, and it could be considered a spirit beast. It was fine if the Black Dragon could not beat that man. But, it wanted to become Little 9th's most favorite spirit beast. Yes, there is, Fu Chun replied without any hesitation. Advertisement. The Black Dragon was infuriated. Who? Which spirit beast? They'll kill it. It's a dog. Snow Wolf is considered a dog too, isn't it? They have the same origins. What? The Black Dragon was so angry that it jumped in frustration. Little 9th owns a dog. She doesn't like me anymore. No, I must recover sooner so that I'll kill that dog when I'm back. I must be 9th's most favorite spirit beast. She even owns bears, foxes, sables, rabbits, apes, eagles. Sponsored content. The Black Dragon's facial expression worsened after listening to what Fu Chun had said. It only realized something after a while. Why are there so many spirit beasts by Little 9th's side? Little Fu Chun, come and help me to heal my body. Advertisement. The Black Dragon picked up Fu Chun. It was about to leave the place. Suddenly, it thought of the people who were imprisoned in the cages. It flashed its sharp teeth at them. You can do anything to humans. It's fine if you want to take revenge on them. They should never have come here to ruin the peace in the forest of spirit beasts in the first place. The spirit beasts in the forest of spirit beasts started to move toward the humans after listening to what the black dragon had said. Those humans who were imprisoned in the cage could not die or live according to their own wishes. They had no choice but to look helplessly at the spirit beasts. Feng Ruching passed through the bushes, and she soon saw that Hongyu was waiting there for her. Sponsored content, she walked toward Feng Ruching slowly when she saw her. Advertisement, Manor Lady. All the others have left. But Hongyu bit her lip and said apologetically, Zhao Yao has an escaping talisman. He has run away with Xian. Feng Ruching narrowed her eyes. There was something glinting in her eyes. It's fine. We don't have to deal with Xian. Somebody else will deal with her in the future. Hongyu did not say anything more, and she lowered her eyes. Zhao Yao came from Talon's Gate. She recognized him at first sight. She just never thought that he would have a mistress living outside of his family. That mistress was Xian. Hongyu took a deep breath. Manor Lady, Zhao Yin and Zi Yin ran away because of my negligence. I must take care of this. Otherwise, Talon's Gate might blame us for this. Hongyu bowed to Feng Ruching before turning and rushing into the forest of spirit beasts. Advertisement, she must report that incident to the elder. Zhao Yao was not the only one from Talon's Gate. There was a former master too. If they did not take care of that incident, Zhao Yin would be a threat to them. She could never allow anyone to bully Manor Lady. Then, we'll head back first. Feng Ruching shrugged and told the other palace maids from Fengyun Manor. She was not worried about Hongye's strength. Moreover, Hongyu was under the protection of Fengyun Manor. Surely, she could tackle small matters. Chapter 637, All Right, Manor Lady. Sponsored content. The palace maids from Fengyun Manor followed behind Feng Ruching. They seemed shy. It might seem like Feng Ruching was their bridegroom if the public did not know better. Nanxian seemed to be calmer now. But he soon saw the facial expressions of the palace maids. His facial expression soon turned cold again. Qinger, are they the palace maids whom you have eloped with? Feng Ruching was speechless. Advertisement eloped? When did that happen? Why didn't I know about that? Feng Ruching turned and looked at Nanxian, shocked. Who told you that I have eloped with someone else? Xiao Qing. Nanxian was rather honest. Sponsored content. Feng Ruching's facial expression darkened. They'll brew snake soup when I'm back. Damn it. How could Xiao Qing make up stories about me in front of the state preceptor? They'll not let it go when it's back. Qing Zhu crawled out of a deep pit with much difficulty not far in the distance. It could not help but sneeze. It felt that there was somebody talking about it. I don't care now. The master and the princess must have gone far. I must head back now. It's not that easy even if he wants to abandon me. They'll crawl my way back to Luyun Kingdom if I have to. Qing Zhu seemed quite determined. Advertisement, you want to abandon me? That's impossible. Surely, it would run away immediately if it knew that Feng Ruching was ready to brew snake soup. Nanxian would not even have to say anything more. It would run away and never return. Sponsored content. At Talon's Gate. A figure came and stood at the entrance anxiously. He was pale. His hair was messy and his clothes were shabby like a beggar. Moreover, he was stopped by the disciples of Talon's Gate who were guarding the entrance. Get lost. I'm your master. How dare you stop me from entering Talon's Gate? Zhao Yin was infuriated. He seemed savage. He was no longer gentle like he used to be. Advertisement. One of the disciples recognized the man in front of them after a while. He took 2 steps back in fear. He kneeled down quickly. Master, please forgive me. I did not recognize you just now. Please spare my life. Zhao Yao scolded him. Get lost now. He had survived and escaped from the forest of spirit beasts with much difficulty. Now, he was stopped by the disciples from his own manor. Sponsored content. Is there any other master who is treated as badly as me? But Zhao Yao understood that he could not punish the disciples because of such a small matter. Otherwise, the image which he had made for himself with much effort in front of Fei Shui would be ruined. Zhao Yao quickly made himself presentable in case he might meet his wife, Fei Shui, later. He walked into the manor in big strides. The disciple looked at Zhao Yao's disappearing figure. He spat on the ground. He's just a man who relies on Lady. He enjoys what he owns today because of Lady. I saw that he had even harassed a female disciple the other day. That girl is new here. She had no one to turn to in times like that. No one would believe her. Hence, she had no choice but to keep it to herself. Advertisement, he's just a bastard. Another disciple quickly gave him a signal so that he would stop talking. Just stop talking. If he hears what you have said, we'll all be killed. The disciple did not continue talking after his companion advised him, but he was still looking at Zhao Yao angrily. That kind of villain always pretends to be nice in front of Lady. Lady always believes in him. Even if we say anything more, Lady would never believe us. Inside the manor, Zhao Yao soon saw a beautiful lady sitting at the pavilion when he was inside the manor. That beautiful lady was elegant. She seemed independent and strong. She was nothing like any other weak, ordinary women. Advertisement, swear. Zhao Yao's voice was pathetic. He rushed toward the beautiful woman. Chapter 638. Fei Shui was shocked to see his pathetic look. She got up immediately and frowned slightly. Sponsored content. What's wrong with you? Who has hurt you? Zhao Yu seemed to be in pain. He grabbed his own hair in a bunch, tightly. Shui, I'm so sorry. It's almost your birthday. I went to the forest of spirit beasts because I wanted to capture a spirit beast for you. But who would have known? Fei Shui was stunned. She frowned slightly. I told you before that our Talon's Gate should not bother about the things happen in the forest of spirit beasts. They think that the king of beasts is weak, so they could do anything with it. But it's not that easy given that he's the king of beasts. You see? Didn't I tell you that before? Why did you go and trouble yourself? I just thought that. I'd catch a spirit beast for you. Zhao Yao was hesitant. He was mumbling. I never expected that things could be this bad. Advertisement, exactly what has happened. Fei Shui helped Zhao Yao up. She was sad to see him like that. Sponsored content, he looks pathetic because of me. Zhao Yin seemed angry. I had captured a tier 5 spirit beast for you. But a woman suddenly appeared. Fei Shui did not say anything in response. She waited for Zhao Yao's explanation patiently. That woman is the princess of Lu Yun Kingdom. Her name is Fengruching. Xian was the one who told Zhao Yao about Fengruching's identity. Zhao Yao was infuriated when he thought of the time when he was almost killed by that woman. Sponsored content advertisement. Fengruching knew that I'm the master from Talon's Gate. So, she wanted to be together with me. She even threw herself at me. But I have eyes only for you. My heart belongs to you. I won't even look at the other women. They'll never betray you no matter how beautiful she is. But who would have known? There were deep hatred and disgust in Zhao Yao when he said that. That woman grew to hate me because of that. Then, she promised to be with the other masters, and they joined forces to attack me. The tier 5 spirit beast was snatched away too. Hong Yu had recognized Zhao Yao at first sight when they were at the forest of spirit beasts. But Hong Yu had too many freckles on her face. Thus, Zhao Yao did not realize that she was the guardian of Fengyun clan. He did not even realize that Fengruching was the manor lady of Fengyun clan. What did you say? Fei Shui was extremely angry. She clenched her fists tightly. How can there be someone so shameless in this world? So much so that she would do such a thing because her wish was not granted. Sponsored content. In fact, she did not care for the incident where Fengruching had promised to be together with the other masters. It had nothing to do with her. But she would never allow anyone to seduce her husband. Advertisement. She was a domineering woman. She would never allow anyone else to sleep with her husband except herself. If she found out about any other woman, she would never forgive them. Luckily, you're a noble person. You do not wrong me. If I find you with another woman, I'll never forgive the two of you. Fei Shui gritted her teeth and said that threateningly. Zhao Yao trembled with fear. He almost could not conceal his feelings. After a short while, he calmed down and broke into a gentle smile. Shui, don't you trust me? Don't you know what kind of person I am? Have you seen me looking at any other woman all these years? I don't even have a palace maid who serves me in my bedroom, so forget about marrying the concubines. It's because I love you only. You are the only one in my heart. Am disgusted even if someone other than you were to touch me. The disdain in his eyes seemed so real and deep that Fei Shui was not worried anymore. She calmed down. She stared at him. Luckily you know where you stand. This is my last straw. If you dare to get a concubine, they'll go and call my father at the back hill. My father loves me a lot. I'm more important than his closed-door cultivation. He will surely come out and kill you. Advertisement. Chapter 639. 639. Zhao Yao gnashed his teeth hard. Sponsored content. This vicious woman. What kind of woman doesn't allow her husband to get a concubine? What kind of woman doesn't allow her husband to mingle with other women? I'd definitely divorce her if I was not afraid of her father. But Zhao Yao still appeared loving and loyal toward Fei Shui, even if he hated her so much in his heart. Swear, don't worry. If I betray you one day, advertisement. He did not finish what he wanted to say. Fei Shui quickly pressed her fingers to his lips. Her tension was soon dissipated. I believe in you. Moreover, the consequences you will face will still be the same even if you don't swear in front of me. If you never betray me, they'll treat you good my whole life. If you dare to break your promises, you'll surely die horribly. Fei Shui was smiling happily, but she never noticed that Zhao Yao's face turning stiff. Sponsored content, that's right. Bring me to that girl. I want to ask her whether she has any face one. How dare she seduce my husband? She believed in Zhao Yao. She would never allow anybody to seduce her husband. Fine. Advertisement. Zhao Yao seemed not that worried about the possibility that Feng Ruching might talk about Xian in front of them. He would never admit to that if it should happen. Fei Shui is a stupid person. She always believes what I said. She'll never believe what others say as long as she does not see me with Xian. Sponsored content. At that moment, a disciple suddenly came in. Master, there's a girl from Fengyun clan. She wants to meet you. Fengyun clan? Zhao Yao was confused. I've never met anybody from Fengyun clan. Why does she want to meet me? When did you ever have any contact with Fengyun clan? Fei Shui was surprised. Advertisement. Fengyun clan had a strong and powerful status in the reclusive world, although it might not be as strong as the other forces. But those forces had a history of hundreds of years. It had not been more than 20 years since Fengyun clan was founded. Yet, Fengyun clan could achieve that kind of status in so short a time. It was obvious that Fengyun clan would be a very powerful force in the future. Sponsored content. Talon's Gate was not as powerful as that Fengyun clan even when my father was the master. Zhao Yao shook his head. I have never come in contact with Fengyun clan. But, swear, you know how I'm admired by a lot of women. However, I only love you. Yet, they still want to ruin our relationship. I guess it might be a woman who has fallen for me. I don't even know what Fengyun clan wants with me. But the elders from Fengyun clan were men. The lady of Fengyun clan had gone missing for so many years. They did not even have a manor lady. Advertisement. Therefore, the woman who wants to meet me must be an ordinary female disciple. It's normal if an ordinary female disciple falls for a master. Furthermore, he was still worried as he still did not know what Fengyun clan wanted with him. Hence, he needed to instill that kind of idea in Fei Shui. If anything unexpected happened, he could throw the girl under the bus and claim that she did so because her love for him was unrequited. Fei Shui was in doubt. Somebody from Fengyun clan admires Zhao Yao? But she knew that there were a lot of people from Talon's Gate who wanted to seduce Zhao Yao. They were rejected by Zhao Yao directly. So, she was not worried. She did not have to worry so much given that she had a loving husband who loved her deeply. Moreover, Zhao Yao was extremely exceptional. Otherwise, there would not be so many people who wanted to be with him. Fortunately, he had always rejected them. He did not marry a concubine, or even look at the other women because of his love for her. Advertisement. This kind of man is so rare in this world, isn't it? Chapter 640. 640. Let's go. I want to see what kind of woman she is. How dare she peep at my man? Sponsored content. Fei Shui always believed in what Zhao Yu said. She gritted her teeth hard. There was deep hatred in her. At the entrance. Advertisement. Fei Shui saw a girl who was wearing green clothes standing at the entrance. She seemed calm. There were freckles on her face. She looked extremely ordinary, and there was nothing special about her appearance. She was in doubt, and she turned to look at Zhao Yao. Do you know this girl? Sponsored content. Zhao Yao was stunned. Why is it her? I never thought that she would catch up with me so soon. Fortunately, I have explained to Fei Shui just now. If not, she might talk about something else. There might be some misunderstandings between Fei Shui and me if she does so. That's not good. Yes, I know her. She's Feng Rooking's palace maid. She's not from Fengyun clan. He sneered coldly. What kind of a place is Fengyun Manor? Why would a disciple from Fengyun clan be a palace made for a princess from the secular world? It's ridiculous. Advertisement. How dare that woman come looking for you? Fei Shui was infuriated. Sponsored content. It seems that Talon's Gate has not been making an appearance in the public for so long. Now, even a princess from a worthless kingdom dares to come and seduce my man. Hong Yu was expressionless. She seemed cold and distant. I have come here because I want to ask Zhao Yao about somebody. If you leave Xian to me, they'll forgive you for what you have done. If not, I'm afraid that even Talon's Gate will not be able to protect you. She would never forget how Xian had acted arrogantly in Fengyun Manor because of Qing Yuan's protection. But Xian acted differently in front of Qing Yuan. Therefore, Qing Yuan believed in her deeply. That was fine. But she could not accept the fact that the family members of the manor master were almost killed on the battlefield because of her stopping Qing Yuan from helping. Advertisement-sponsored content. She also could not accept the fact that Xian threw herself into another man's embrace when Qing Yuan was no longer influential in Fengyun clan. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. She understood very well the reason why Manor Lady had kicked Qing Yuan out of Fengyun Manor. Qing Yuan was too stupid and naive. He did not know how to differentiate between good and bad people. If he stayed in Fengyun clan, he might cause trouble there. There might be other women who were just like Xian. Xian had always caused trouble when she was acting like she owned Fengyun clan before. She might offend someone who was much more powerful in the future if she continued to act like that. Then, she would surely cause trouble to Fengyun Manor. But, even so, she had a long and deep relationship with Qing Yuan. He would never allow anyone to treat her badly. Who's Xian? Zhao Yao saw how Fei Shui's doubt when she was looking at him. He was rather angry. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know any Xian. Hong Yu sneered. Your lover, Xian was Qing Yuan's lover too. He was one of us before. She's just a woman who abandoned Qing Yuan when he had lost his power and status. You're the only one who could be with this kind of woman. Advertisement. Zhao Yao's eyes darkened. Xian lied to me. Did that youth have a relationship with her before? Damn it. That woman. But Zhao Yao had never met Qing Yuan before. The only guardians from Fengyun Manor whom he knew were Hong Yu and Feng Ying. Hence, he did not know of Qing Yuan's identity, and he chose to believe his little lover. Zhao Yao. Fei Shui scolded him angrily. Explain to me. Who the hell is Xian? Zhao Yao froze. He turned to look at Fei Shui with his sad eyes. The pain in him was so real and obvious. Shui, don't you trust me? Is it true that you never believed me? Chapter 641. He blames others while he himself is to be blamed. For Fei Shui was jolted as she saw Zhao Yao's sad-looking face. She was somehow convinced as she stepped forward and wanted to hold Zhao Yao's hand, but then he shook her away harshly. I should have known that you will never trust me. All these years, because of you, I did not take any concubine even though so many female disciples in Talon's Gate have thrown themselves at me. I did not accept any of them and had also expelled them from Talon's Gate. Hong Yu looked at Zhao Yao in disbelief. Female disciples who threw themselves at him also had been expelled from Talon's Gate? Several years ago, she had visited Talon's Gate on behalf of Fengyun Manor and by chance, Fei Shui was not around, leaving Zhao Yao alone there. Back then, Zhao Yao was teasing a female disciple, but in the end, the female disciple had sternly turned him down and claimed that she would report this to Fei Shui too. Later, on her next visit to Talon's Gate, she never saw that female disciple anymore. In Zhao Yao's narration, it turned out that those female disciples, who had failed to seduce him, eventually got expelled by him. That was ridiculous. However, when Hong Yu saw how deeply convinced Fei Shui looked, she could not help but burst out laughing. It's all because of you. Zhao Yao turned around angrily, with a sense of viciousness. His eyes were burning with hatred. Feng Ruqing had the fantasy of reaching the top in a single bound, so she tried to crawl into my bed, but I've turned her down, and now she sends her female servant to frame me as an act of revenge? By the way, thank you guys for letting me know that my wife doesn't trust me. Fei Shui panicked as her noble face paled. She really liked Zhao Yao, to the extent where she was irrational when it came to him. Zhao Yao, just now I have really misunderstood you. I apologize to you. I shouldn't have doubted you. How could she suspect her husband, who she had been with him for so many years, just because of some stranger's words? Nobody in the world knew Zhao Yao better than her. He would never have done something unfaithful to her. Hong Ye's smile turned colder as she slowly approached Zhao Yao. What did you say just now? Our manor lady wanted to crawl into your bed? Fei Shui had already rushed in front of Hong Yu before Zhao Yao could speak. Enough. I don't care who you are, and I also don't know who exactly are you. I beg you not to come and destroy our relationship anymore. Now look at all the little girls. They want to seduce my husband when they notice my husband is somebody with social status. Don't forget that I'm the one who's in charge of Talon's Gate. If any girl seduces him, every one of them would eventually become the son of me for extra chapters. Slap. Hong Yu moved in front of Fei Shui and gave her a hard slap. Suddenly, all the disciples of Talon's Gate rushed out and immediately surrounded Hong Yu. At the same time, Hong Ye's eyes looked as cold as a blade as her stare emitted a strong and heavy aura. I dare you to insult her with another sentence again. Fei Shui was dumbstruck. She covered her aching cheek as she was speechless in her boiling anger. This bastard. How dare she hit me in Talon's Gate? She's tired of living. Swear. Zhao Yao's eyes were filled with a sense of sympathy as he clenched his fists tightly. He slowly turned his head and glared at Hong Yu. No matter how Shuer has misunderstood me or distrusted me, she's still the woman I love the most. I will never allow anyone to lay a finger upon her. Fei Shui stared at the man who was protecting her, dumbfounded. A sense of warmth crept in her heart. She looked even more guilty as she gently held his hand. My husband, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you just now. Zhao Yao sighed and spoke helplessly, because I'm terribly in love with you. Even if you don't trust me, I won't really be mad at you. Shuer, stay behind me. Today, I will kill this woman and take revenge for you. Chapter 642. Hong Yu was rubbing her own arms. As she heard Zhao Yao's words, suddenly, she lifted her head and stared at Zhao Yao, coldly. Sponsored content, Zhao Yao. It's hard to expect that after several years of not meeting each other, you dare to battle with me now. You're only a loser. I cannot understand how shameless are you to say that our manor lady had seduced you? In this mainland, there were many men and women who were fond of their manor lady. Why would their manor lady even care to seduce an old man? On top of that, he did not even have freckles. What nonsense are you talking about? Zhao Yao's expression changed. When did I even meet you before? Advertisement, several years ago, when I came to Talon's Gate. Hong Yu blinked and continued, and just in time to see you teasing a female disciple. But you kicked her out because she had turned you down. Sponsored content. At first, Talon's Gate's disciples had intended to attack Hong Yu, but they stopped as they heard what she had said. The truth was, no matter how discreet Zhao Yao was, what he had done in secret would be exposed by someone eventually. However, nobody dared to tell his wife. The lady had always trusted the master. If they spoke too much, they would be doomed. You are spewing nonsense. Fei Shui looked green in her face and retorted, it was those little minks who failed to seduce Zhao Yao and got kicked out by him. Zhao Yao's very faithful to me. So, he will never let any disciple who's up to something stay around or approach him. Sponsored content. Advertisement. Hong, you turned to look at Fei Shui. Do you really believe that a middle-aged man, and also who has put on weight, has the qualities to attract those young woman disciples? Fei Shui harumphed and sniffed. It's simply because my husband is in a high and powerful position. Those women want to cling to the top, so it's natural for them to want to seduce him. Hong Yu suddenly burst out laughing when she turned to look at Fei Shui. Her smile was cold as she felt like she was looking at a fool. So you think that those Talon's Gate's female disciples were already tired of living their lives? They knew well that you're the one who holds the real power in Talon's Gate. Also, they knew well that if they were to ever become Zhao Yao's concubine, they would be beaten to death by you. So, those women were so tired of living their lives that they decided to go and seduce him? I thought they had gone insane because of love, however. It turned out that it was because of their thirst for power? That was ridiculous. What was the use of power when those women would lose their lives in the end? Sponsored content. Fei Shui was dumbfounded. Somehow, she felt that this woman had a point. It was well known that she was the one who controlled Talon's Gate. Besides, all of Talon's Gate's female disciples knew well of her temper. Advertisement. Why would they still dare to seduce Zhao Yao? On top of that, it was Zhao Yao who had kicked the female disciple out before telling her what had happened. Therefore, she had never met any of those female disciples who wanted to climb up to a higher position. Don't you ever think of bewitching us? Fei Shui gritted her teeth tightly as she felt more anxious. She forced herself to calm down. Maybe they were crazily in love with my husband, so they did not care to risk their lives to seduce him. Hong Yu shook her head. People who were blinded were really terrible. The same thing had happened to Qing Yuan before. As now, for Talon's Gate lady, she was in the same situation too. Furthermore, some women are too stupid as they would risk anything to fight for a chance, even when they were aware it is a dead end. Fei Shui sneered and said, they might think that perhaps if Zhao Yao accepted them, I can do nothing but just accept it. Advertisement. Hong Yu seemed cold. I really agreed with one of your points. Some women are too stupid. They were so stupid to such a terrible extent. However, Hong Yu walked toward Zhao Yao, fearlessly. I'm here with only a purpose. Hand Zian back to me. Chapter 643. Let me repeat that. I don't know who the hell Zian is. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao refused to admit as he feigned ignorance. Oh. Hong Yu pulled out the sword from her waist without saying anything more this time. She was giving off a creepy aura as her eyes were filled with a sense of coldness that made people shiver. Also, Talon's Gate's disciples had come to their senses as they rushed toward Hong Yu. Advertisement. Whatever opinions they might have against their master, when enemies invaded them, they must protect and guard Talon's Gate's peace. However, just as those disciples were moving in front of Hong Yu, a massive force suddenly exploded and blew the disciples away, just like a whirlwind. The disciples clumsily crashed to the ground. In fact, back when they were in the forest of spirit beasts, Hong Yu had made those spirit beasts attack and take revenge instead of doing that on her own. Sponsored content. She was giving those spirit beasts an opportunity to vent their anger away. Therefore, Zhao Yao only realized Hong Yu's power now. The color of his face changed from white to blue, then back to white again, which was a rather remarkable sight. You are a dark warrior? Feng Rooking's female servant was actually a dark warrior? Advertisement. Who exactly was she? Zhao Yao clenched his fists tightly. Zian only told him that Feng Ruqing was Lu Yun Kingdom's princess, but she had never told him that Feng Rooking's female servant was so powerful. Also, sponsored content. It seemed that this female servant knew Zian too. How dare that woman put him into trouble? This time, Zhao Yao had really wronged Zian. Zian rarely had any interactions with Hong Yu before, as they had only occasionally bumped into each other. Also, Hong Yu had so many freckles on her face now, it was forgivable for Zian to not recognize her right away. Advertisement. How could she be aware of her power when she did not recognize Hong Yu? You speak like this is the first time you've met me. I've told you earlier that I've come to Talon's Gate before. That's impossible. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao shook his head and said, I've never seen you before. A person whose face was filled with freckles. If he saw this person before, it was impossible for him to not have any memories of her. Oh, Hong Yu seemed a bit confused. Hong Yu. Hong Yu? Advertisement. Zhao Yao was dumbfounded and suddenly burst into laughter. Your ability to talk nonsense is stronger than your power. I've seen Hong Yu before, and she doesn't look like you. How dare you say you're Hong Yu? Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. Although Fengyan Manor's Hong Yu was not that attractive to the point that would bring people to their knees, she was a beautiful girl too. An ugly monster who was full of freckles. How dare she claimed herself as Hongyu? Zhao Yao. Fei Shui was shocked the first moment when she saw her. Finally, she calmed down, and she had never felt that sober in her mind before. Then, she turned to look at Zhao Yao. Tell me, who exactly is Feng Ruqing? She has a dark warrior female servant, and she's no weaker than you. So, why would she want to seduce you? If Feng Ruqing came from a lower social class, she would have full confidence in Zhao Yao. However, this female servant was a dark warrior. How could a small kingdom's princess be capable of hiring a dark warrior as a female servant? Advertisement, in other words, a person who was capable of using a dark warrior as her female servant. Why would she choose to seduce another dark warrior? Fei Shui's face was snowy white, and her voluptuous body was trembling. She had trusted and loved Zhao Yao for so many years. She could not bear the thought of somebody coming to uncover his lies. Zhao Yao panicked. He did not look as calm as he was before. He quickly grabbed Fei Shui's hand. Shuai, didn't you say that you trust me? How can I be that kind of person? I don't know why she would fall for me either. However, she has failed to seduce me, and now, her love has turned into hatred, so she wants to destroy our relationship. Chapter 644. Fei Shui closed her eyes. Sponsored content, she wanted to trust him just like how she had before. However, if Zhao Yao could not give her a reasonable explanation, the bud of suspicion toward him inside of her heart would grow. Someday, it would turn into a big towering tree. As Hongyu was looking at Zhao Yao's grotesque appearance with his pudgy tummy, she could not help but feel nauseated and almost threw up the rice she had eaten the night before. Our manor lady likes you? Advertisement, you shut up. Zhao Yao glared at Hongyu. His eyes were bloodshot. I don't know how you became Feng Ruqing's female servant, and I will never believe your claim as a guardian of Fengyun Manor. Not only do I not believe it, but I will also report to Fengyun Manor Master, too, and you'll wait for Fengyun Manor to hunt you down and kill you. Indeed, Fengyun Manor's guardian could never become Feng Ruqing's female servant. Sponsored content. If such a female servant were painting Fengyun Manor's reputation black outside and was found out by Fengyun Manor, no doubt be it her or Feng Ruqing, they would die. Suddenly, an old voice came from somewhere up ahead. That voice was shrieking with along a sneer. Advertisement. When has it become Talon's Gate's business for my Fengyun Manor to hunt down and kill someone? That voice was quite familiar to Zhao Yao and Fei Shui. They could not help by looking up. Suddenly, they saw an elderly man who was dressed in a gray robe slowly approaching them. Sponsored content. His pace was steady, and with his seemingly divine figure, he looked kind and gentle. Little Hongyu, I've heard that Xian is around here. Back then, that girl Xian wanted to help Tang Yu. So she had distracted Qing Yuan and led him away and had almost separated Manor Master and me into different worlds. One, bring that girl out immediately. I want to settle scores with her. As for the matter of Xian deceiving Qing Yuan, he would put it aside for the moment since it was Qing Yuan who did not recognize and see people clearly. What he could not stand was the fact that Xian had almost killed Manor Master. Advertisement. Back then, if Qing Yuan had not been led away when the Tang family was in such big trouble, Qing Yuan would have been the first to get notified. The Manor Master and the Manor Lady would not have to bear so much of the sufferings as well. She had caused the Manor Lady to be attacked by Fengyun Manor when the Manor Lady was trying to save Manor Master. Sponsored content. It was said that if the White Phoenix did not appear in time, perhaps they could not even wait until Master Lei Yun's arrival. Fifth Elder. Hongyu was delighted. Finally, you're here. Ahem. I came here as soon as I got your message. The fifth elder, Tian Qi, cleared his throat and sounded a little awkward. Tell me, if I finish Xian off, would Manor Master and Manor Lady forgive me? Advertisement. Back then, if it were not because of him, Tang Yu would not have acted like a tyrant in Fengyun Manor. He should not have allowed her in Fengyun Manor before he was absolutely sure of her identity. Hongyu remained silent for a while before she started to speak. Manor Lady likes freckles. Next time when you see her, put some freckles on your face, and maybe she might not be able to bring herself to blame you anymore. Tian Qi's eyes brightened up suddenly. However, He quickly hid the emotion in his eyes as he felt it was too obvious. As his fingers caressed his white beard, he smiled kindly and said, "Well, that's quite a great idea. To beg for Manor Lattice forgiveness, all I can do is to sacrifice a little first." There was dead silence. Zhao Yao was dumbstruck. It was impossible for him to not recognize Feng Yun Manor's fifth elder. However, when he thought of how Tianqi had addressed Hong Yu just now, a sense of anxiety dawned in his eyes. Fifth elder, why are you here? Is she really Hong Yu? But I remember that Hong Yu doesn't have freckles, why? Advertisement. The corners of Hong Ye's lips lifted into a smile. Our manor lady likes people with freckles. Chapter 645 Bang. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao was suddenly mind-blown. This woman, she was really Hong Yu? Why? Why would Hong Yu willingly dedicate herself to be a princess female servant? Advertisement. Oh, yeah, Xian. The fifth elder had mentioned Xian just now. That damn woman must have already been aware that there was something behind this. She had really put him into really big trouble. Fifth elder. The corners of Hong Ye's lips were lifted in a smile as she turned to look at Fei Shui, sarcastically. Talon's Gate Master's wife insulted our manor lady by saying that she had seduced her husband, and she also said that anyone can be our manor lattice husband, and even claimed that our manor lady would do anything just to gain higher power and status. Sponsored content. Suddenly, the surrounding of Talon's Gate turned chilly after Hong Yu finished her words. Fei Shui felt as if many blades were slashing at her skin. Even Talon's Gate's disciples trembled as they were too afraid to move. Advertisement. It was Zhao Yao who had said it. Suddenly, Fei Shui came to her senses. She gritted her teeth and asked Zhao Yao, it's you who has told me that Feng Ruqing is fascinated by your Talon's Gate status. That was why she tried to seduce you. However, she failed to do so, and so she took away your Tier 5 spirit beast, isn't it? You must give me an explanation. Why was a Feng Yun Manor's guardian, Feng Ruqing's female servant, a Tier 5 spirit beast? Hong Yu sneered as she stepped forward. Does our manor lady need to rob? It's always the spirit beasts that throw themselves at her. Tianqi did not speak all the while when everything was happening. His eyes were not as kind and gentle as they were before. They looked cold as he glared at Zhao Yao and his wife. Sponsored content. Because of her thirst for power. She seduced you? Zhao Yao took 2 steps backward as his face was drained of color while his body was trembling. Advertisement. I am just telling the truth. I don't even know which part of me attracts her. They'll change it if I know. Haha. Tianqi cackled. Our Feng Yun Manor lady lashed herself onto a master from Talon's Gate? When had our Feng Yun Manor become so weak? Zhao Yao's head buzzed and turned blank. Tianqi did mention about a manor master and manor lady before, but he did not relate that to Feng Ruqing. Feng Ruqing was only a Lu Yun Kingdom's princess. How could she become Feng Yun Manor lady? Sponsored content. However, what was impossible was true now. Advertisement. It can't be. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Zhao Yao stepped back again as his eyes were slowly filled with despair. Feng Ruqing was Feng Yun Manor lady. Why Xian did not tell him? Why? And apparently, just now, Zhao Yao seemed to have mentioned Qing Yuan. Qing Yuan was a Feng Yun Manor's guardian too? Zhao Yao. Fei Shui shouted in disbelief and anger. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she was trembling in anger. Zhao Yao, tell me. Everything that you've told me before, how many of them are true? Feng Yun Manor lady. Did she need to cling onto a Talon's Gate's master? Also to cling onto him immorally? Advertisement. That was ridiculous. It was true that she liked Zhao Yao, and she also believed that a lot of girls would like him. However, Feng Yun Manor's lady would never be one of those people. No matter how excellent Zhao Yao was, he was not in the league that was capable of attracting her. Madam, a female disciple rushed out of Talon's Gate's door. She kneeled in front of Fei Shui as her eyes were flooded with tears. Zhao Yao's face contorted the moment he saw that female disciple. What are you doing out here? Get lost. Chapter 646. The female disciple tightly bit on her lip, but she did not stand up and continued to kowtow, hitting her head strongly on the ground, twice. Sponsored content, madam. Please speak for my sister, in the name of justice. Fei Shui looked at the girl who was kneeling on the floor and turned to look at Zhao Yao, who was filled with rage. Her face was pale as she seemed to have noticed something, and then her lips slightly trembled. Tell me what happened. Even though the female disciple had hit her head until her forehead was bleeding, she seemed to feel no pain as she was still violently kowtowing. She clenched her fists tightly. Years ago, I've entered Talon's Gate with my sister. However, her appearance was different from my plain-looking appearance. My sister's beauty has brought her disaster. Advertisement. Back when Madam was not around Talon's Gate, Master had taken the advantage and wanted to harass my sister. But my sister refused to be with him, and that had enraged him. After he forced himself on my sister, he took away my sister's ability and threw her out of Talon's Gate. The female disciple started to look miserable. Poor sister. She committed suicide because she couldn't bear the humiliation. However, what he had been saying was that it was my sister who had seduced him. He cast my sister out in order to preserve your dignity. Sponsored content. My sister already had someone, but now she's dead. Her husband wanted to avenge her, but eventually, he got killed by Master too. I thank heaven for giving me such a plain-looking face, for heaven has granted me to continue to stay inside Talon's Gate. However, my power is too weak to avenge my sister, and no one believes in what I say either. I swear that all the disciples who were expelled, none of them had seduced Master before. It's Master who was enraged because of his failure to court them. All the while, she had been staying inside just to wait for the chance to take revenge. Now, the chance had finally come as her master was so foolish that he had offended stronger enemies out there, too. Her sister and brother-in-law could finally rest in peace. Advertisement. Hong Yu was already dumbfounded. After a while, she composed herself and turned to look at Zhao Yao, angrily. Sponsored content. She thought Zhao Yao had only expelled those people. No one would have expected him to do such a terrible thing, which was worse than what a beast would do. After all, she was not a member of Talon's Gate. She had already tried to stop Zhao Yao from taking advantage of a female disciple several years ago, but still, she could not always be putting her nose in Talon's Gate's trifles. It seemed that all the female disciples would come to a sticky end. As for Zhao Yao, who was worse than a beast, he deserved punishments and death. Nonsense. Zhao Yao was so anxious he summoned a gust of wind with his palm. Just as the wind was about to strike the female disciple in front of him, Hong Yu started to retaliate. Bang! As the two forces collided, Zhao Yao swiftly took several steps back. His eyes were red as he stared at the female disciple, grudgingly. Advertisement. Sponsored content. He should not have let this woman stay. He thought everything would work out perfectly smooth because no matter what people said, Fei Shui would not believe in them with her level of intelligence. Therefore, he never thought that such a thing would happen that day. Madam, another disciple kneeled down as he alleged, I can attest to that too. I've seen not only once that Master had tried to take advantage of a female disciple. Any of the female disciples who refused to obey, he would throw them out after he was done with them. Your disciple, I can attest that too. Perhaps because of Feng Yun Manor's elder presence, those disciples were finally not afraid of Zhao Yao's threatening coercion anymore. Every disciple kneeled down. Advertisement. Just like needles, each of their words was prickling Fei Shui's heart. Fei Shui growled as she pounced on Zhao Yao. Just like an enraged lion, she violently slapped his face. Why do you lie to me? Why? She had trusted him so much that she had handed over Talon's Gate to him and allowed him to be fully in charge of it. Chapter 647. He blames others while he himself is to be blamed. But then, he abused his power by bullying the weak and harassing the female disciples. Eventually, he even put the blame on others while he was the one to be blamed, alleging that those female disciples were the ones who seduced him first. He claimed that all he had in his heart was Fei Shui, and that was why he had banished them, because he refused to keep those female disciples. Fei Shui was very touched back then. What a man he was to make such an effort for her, as he regarded all the women in the world as nothing. How could Fei Shui not be moved? However, in the end, it was a complete sham. Ha ha ha. Fei Shui burst into laughter, and she suddenly broke out in tears. Zhao Yao, oh Zhao Yao, I trusted you so much. But why do you treat me like this? You can divorce me if you want to take a concubine. Why do you show me your affections, but do something else behind my back? Back then, when Zhao Yao was pursuing her, she had already mentioned that she would never allow her man to take a concubine. She had only agreed to marry him after Zhao Yao had agreed to her conditions. Indeed, he had held on to his promise in not taking a concubine. However, his behavior was even more frustrating than taking a concubine. Do you still remember? Zhao Yao, I've told you that if you ever betray me, I will chew you up and spit you out. The affection in Fei Shui's eyes had vanished and was replaced with resentment. She hated Zhao Yao for deceiving her. She also hated herself for trusting him blindly. Also, she hated herself for having hurt so many innocent people because of him. Zhao Yao panicked. He quickly grabbed Fei Shui's hands anxiously. Swear, it was those women who had seduced me first and caused me to be infatuated. Please forgive me. I really love you, Shuer. Fei Shui closed her eyes. Her heart was in deep pain. At this point, Zhao Yao still wanted to put the blame on others. Nonsense. That female disciple, whose sister had died, stood up as hatred burned in her eyes. My sister was deeply in love with my brother-in-law. She would never have seduced you. She killed herself after you harassed her. You're a demon. A demon. You forced my sister to her death. Her sister and her brother-in-law really loved each other. However, because of Zhao Yao, he had separated such loving couples that they could only be reunited in the netherworld. It was all his fault. Me for extra chapters. 2 streams of tears flowed from the female disciple's eyes as she looked despaired. Fei Shui raised her hand and slapped Zhao Yao again. She slapped him really hard this time. Zhao Yao's whole face swelled, but he did not dare to resist. Zhao Yao, oh Zhao Yao. Why don't you feel any guilt at all? Why? Although Fei Shui was naive, she could still clearly distinguish wrong from right. She hated any women who wanted to seduce Zhao Yao. If any of the women fell into her hands, she would let that woman suffer a life that was worse than death. But now, this was obviously Zhao Yao's fault. Nobody had seduced him. He was the one who first harassed others and had forced 2 lives to death. It's me. It's my fault. Fei Shui pressed her hands to her head as she saw that Zhao Yao did not reply to her. If I hadn't trusted you so much, this would never have happened. And also, I would never have allowed you to do whatever you want in Talon's Gate. It was my father who had established Talon's Gate, but how could you treat our disciples in such a way? Don't you ever feel guilty? The root of the problem was that she had trusted Zhao Yao too much. Therefore, even their disciples were aware of a lot of matters. Nobody would dare to step forward and inform her. That was what it was. If only, on that fateful day, if Zhao Yao had not slandered Fengyun Manor Lady first, her faith toward him would not have crumbled, and she would still trust Zhao Yao no matter what the disciples said. Chapter 648. Are you guys done yet? There was a hint of a smile on the corners of Hong Ye's lips as she slowly stepped forward. Tell me, where's Xian? Sponsored content. Zhao Yao looked nervous. I don't know what you are saying. You still want to protect her even until now? Still afraid of letting your wife know her presence? Hong Yu sneered. Xian already knew beforehand of our manor lattice identity, but she chose to conceal it and let you bear the consequences. Think about it. Why would she do so? Zhao Yao's face seemed to crack a little as his heart was filled with resentment. It was all Xian's fault. If it were not because of Xian, he would not have gone against Feng Ruqing and would not have offended anyone from Fengyun Manor also. Fei Shui would not have been aware of so many of these things. If Xian could tell him earlier that Feng Ruqing was Fengyun Manor Lady, then he would never ever dare to slander her again. Sponsored content. Oh, by the way, do you know about Xian's relationship with Qing Yuan? Hong Yu continued to walk toward Zhao Yao. Xian was once Lu Yun Kingdom General Manor young master's fiancée. However, she broke their engagement because she got together with Qing Yuan. Soon, Qing Yuan had offended our manor master because he wanted to protect her, and got expelled from Fengyan Manor as his ability got demoted too. Zhao Yao's lips twitched as he remained silent. He felt a murderous intent toward Zian growing in his heart. In the end, Qing Yuan was given the cold shoulder because she felt that he could not provide her wealth and status. So, she abandoned him and threw herself into your arms. Zhao Yao clenched his fists tightly. He knew that his harassment of the female disciples had severely provoked Fei Shui. She would go insane if she ever finds out that he had kept a mistress behind her back. But then, Zhao Yao understood well that if he did not hand over Zian today, Fengyan Manor would never stop going after him. Zhao Yao. Fei Shui tightly tugged at Zhao Yao's sleeves and growled. Where's that easy woman? Why are you still protecting her now? What merit does she have to deserve your protection over her? Sponsored content, she would never let Zhao Yao off, let alone let go of that vile woman. She would make anyone who seduced her man suffer a life that was worse than death. Zhao Yao's face turned even pale. He looked at Fei Shui and turned to look at Hong Yu again, hopelessly. They'll bring you guys to look for her. Hong Yu smiled sarcastically. You better be quick then. I didn't know that she had colluded with Tang Yu before, or else back then when you guys were in the forest of spirit beasts, you guys wouldn't even have stood a chance to escape. At first, Hong Yu was really ignorant of it as she was shocked to hear that from Fifth Elder just now. Sponsored content perhaps. Fifth Elder knew about that from Tang Yu. Whatever it was no doubt that Zian must die today. Tang Yu, who is she? Zhao Yao asked, stutteringly. Hong Yu looked at Zhao Yao, coldly. She was the one who had plotted to kill our manor master and manor lady. Zhao Yao's legs went limp and almost went down on his knees. He did not keep a mistress, but a person who had brought so much trouble to him. Even though nothing happened that day, as long as Zian was a girl he kept outside of his official relationship, then Fengyan Manor's people would catch up to him eventually. Zhao Yao gritted his teeth in deep hatred. He should not have been obsessed with beauty back then, as by doing so, he had put his whole life into real trouble. Talon's Gate was built on a mountain, and there was a small town at the foot of the mountain. The sound of crystals crashing on the floor came from the most luxurious second courtyard within the small town. Zian had swept all of the tea sets onto the floor. She looked gloomy as her eyes were filled with resentment. Chapter 649. Zian's Death to Feng Ruqing. She just could not understand. Why would Feng Ruqing always want to go against her? That damned woman. She was just envious of her living a good life, wasn't she? Do you really think that you will be fine with so many spirit beasts protecting you? Zhao Yao has promised me that he will help me to kill you. Although Zhao Yao was a dark warrior, the ability of the previous Elder Master of Talon's Gate exceeded his. Fei Shui was such a brainless woman. After Zhao Yao had returned and fooled her with some words, she would be enraged, and soon, she would definitely finish Feng Ruqing off. Perhaps because of the imminent threat that Feng Ruqing would be facing soon. Zian looked better as soon as she thought of that. She pushed her hair behind her ear as she sneered. Although Feng Ruqing is Fengyan Manor's lady, Luyun Kingdom is not as strong as Fengyan Manor, as nobody can be assured of Feng Ruqing's safety. After that foolish Fei Shui has killed Feng Ruqing, Fengyan Manor will be enraged and avenge Feng Ruqing by killing Fei Shui. What a brilliant strategy of killing two birds with one stone. If Fei Shui and the previous Elder Master were dead, Zhao Yao would definitely marry her. Soon, she would be the lofty Talon's Gate Master's first wife, and nobody would look down upon her anymore. Who's that? Just as Zian lost herself in a daydream, she heard footsteps outside the door. Previously, Zhao Yao did not arrange any female servant to serve her just in case anyone found out about their affair. Therefore, Zian stood up and hurried outside the door as soon as she heard the footsteps. A familiar face came into her vision when she pushed open the door. The young guy was still in his long green robe, as usual. Nobody knew if it was his blood or Yunar blood on his chest, as it was stained red with fresh blood. Qing Yuan? Zian was shocked, and she burst into laughter suddenly. It seems that you still can't let go of me. What? Do you still want me to be your woman? Why don't you look at yourself? You can't even achieve whatever you've wished for. What makes you think I will marry you? Me for extra chapters. Qing Yuan's eyes were cold as he looked at Zian expressionlessly. It's you who had hurt Yunar, right? Is it true that she was really your female servant? Xian was jolted. Well, there was nothing she could not tell him since Long Ao Kingdom had already fallen. She's Ziyun, a stepsister from my stepmother. No, she's the real Xian. The corners of Xian's lips lifted as she slowly but deliberately approached Qing Yuan. Before I was born, Xian's mother was a noble consort, and she was in a good relationship with Nailin Yin. But then, Nailin Yin was a terribly talented woman, and my mother found out about her mother's relationship with Nailin Yin by chance, so she switched our identities before I was born. Luckily, we were born on the same day, or else we wouldn't have gotten such a chance. Back then, when Nailin Yin was around, many people wanted to claim kinship with her, but so what? In the end, Nailin Yin chose me. Although she was a switched one, she had already been living with Xian's identity since. Her biological mother was merely a concubine. As for Ziyun, she was the real noble consort's daughter, even though the noble consort would never find out that she was only a fake Xian. Her biological daughter grew up under abuse. Everything should be fine initially as Ziyun was still a princess after all. But then, Ziyun had almost snatched her man away. Therefore, she had ruined Xian's appearance and kept her near as her female servant and forced her to watch the love between her and Qing Yuan. That was the revenge she had for Ziyun. Chapter 650. So what you meant is that she's the daughter of the noble consort, and you're the daughter of a concubine, Ziyun? Sponsored content Manor Master always had good taste in choosing friends. If she was in a good relationship with that Long Ao Kingdom's noble consort, then that noble consort's character must be quite commendable. Therefore, her daughter would never be malicious as well. That was what the truth was. No, Imzian. I've been living with this name for so many years. Therefore, Imzian for the rest of my life. Xian laughed. Actually, it doesn't matter if I'm Xian or not. The noble consort died 6 years ago, and my biological mother is dead too. And also, Long Ao Kingdom has already fallen. So, would it be any difference to find out who she was? Never mind, since I have Talon's Gate behind me, and my future won't be any worse either. On the contrary, look at you, a traitor who has been expelled. Do you think you can do any better than me? Now, you're still here to entangle yourself with me. If Xiao Yao ever finds out, he will definitely kill you. Sponsored content Qing Yuan slowly closed his eyes. His fists were trembling. At the same time, the scene of the woman falling into a pool of blood played in his mind again. He suddenly opened his fierce eyes, and with a swing, his hand was already choking Xian. You've stolen her life and lived using her identity. You have also pretended to be the one who had saved me, but why didn't you let go of her? Why do you want to ruin her face and silence her? It was his fault. It was all his fault. It was he who did not see through things clearly and who had allowed Yuner to suffer so much pain instead of him. Sponsored content, he must be blamed for all these things. Qing Yuan, what are you doing? Xian looked panicked. She was only a disfigured, ugly monster. Is she worthy for you to offend Talon's Gate? Don't forget that you don't have Fengyan Manor behind you now, and you're also powerless. What makes you think you are capable of fighting against Talon's Gate? Qing Yuan seemed cold. It's fine as the worst scenario will enable me to apologize to Yuner One. But before that, I will kill you and avenge her. That was what he owed her. A sense of sorrow dawned on Qing Yuan's eyebrows as he choked Xian harder. Xian's whole face was turning red. Even though Qing Yuan's ability had dropped by a tier, she could never be Qing Yuan's match with her own ability. Sponsored content, Qing Yuan. Horror flashed in Xian's eyes. Have you forgotten the loving days when we were together? Do you really want to kill me? Qing Yuan must have had some affection toward her for those days she had spent with him. That affection was not gratefulness for her saving his life. Therefore, she was very sure that this man would never really want to kill her. The corners of Qing Yuan's lips were lifted with a murderous intention. Xian, even if I've found out that you've lied to me, I've never thought of taking revenge on you. But you've killed Yuner. You've killed the person whom I should love. You should die. He could forgive her betrayal. He could also forgive her deceit and concealment. However, He could never forgive Xian for killing Yuner. She was the one who had saved him regardless no matter what. She was also the girl who had lost her life because of him. You. Xian's face turned almost purple now. She coughed violently. She was slowly suffocating. She finally felt panic inside her heart. Qing Yuan was serious this time. He really wanted to kill her. Suddenly, Xian heard a series of footsteps coming from the courtyard. She quickly turned around and saw Zhao Yao, who had entered the door first. Joy filled her eyes. Chapter 651. 651 Master, quick, save me. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao's face darkened as he stared at Xian's face maliciously. His eyes were as sharp as blades when he looked at her. He could not help but feel like tearing this damned woman into 1,000 pieces. Bitch! A shriek came from the sky before Zhao Yao could speak. Immediately, a figure quickly pounced on Xian and pushed her onto the ground. Xian was shocked. She stared at the crazy, angry woman, dumbfounded, as she covered her swollen cheeks with her hands. Her eyes were filled with shock. Sponsored content. This tigress. Why was she here? You bitch. Aren't you always lusting for man? They'll let you seduce a man now. Today, they'll find 100 men and let you enjoy them. Fei Shui was so angry as she stomped on Xian's chest. She grabbed her hair, dragged her up so that she was standing upright before she violently slapped her over and over again. Suddenly, the face that was as pretty as a flower and as clear as jade before swelled up like a pig's. It was not as attractive and as breathtaking as it was before. With a cold fear in Xian's heart, she did not say anything. She lifted her head, stunned, and shot a glance at Zhao Yao. Why? Why did he bring the tigress along? Did he want her to die? Sponsored content, bitch. Keep on looking, would you? They'll poke your eyes until you go blind if you keep looking. Fei Shui was really enraged. Even though she did not plan to live together with Zhao Yao anymore, Zhao Yao was still her husband then. How could she flirt with her husband with her eyes in front of her? It was no different from Xian stepping on her face on the ground when she did that. Xian gulped and forcefully swallowed a mouthful of saliva. There was a taste of blood that was a little fishy but sweet in her saliva. Even if it was true that I've seduced him and his heart was strong enough not to be seduced, do you really think that I would even be here? Why do you cling on to me and refuse to settle scores with him? Xian sneered. She understood what was happening now. Zhao Yao really wanted her dead. They should go to hell together if that were the case. It was impossible for her to allow Zhao Yao to get away from it and live his good life alone. Sponsored content. I've told him before. Anyone who betrays me will be shattered into pieces, so I won't let go of him anyway. As for you, Fei Shui dragged her forward by pulling her hair. Do you think you can live a better life than he? Xian was so in so much pain. She trembled as a big chunk of her hair was pulled off. With a lump stuck in her throat, she turned to look at Qing Yuan helplessly and begged him with her eyes. In the past, the man's eyes and heart were all filled with only her. To protect her, he had even betrayed Fengyun Manor and wanted to live a new life going all over the world with her. Therefore, he was still her one and only hope now. She hoped that he could bring her away and leave this place for the sake of their past relationship and allow her to keep what was left of her dignity. Qing Yuan's eyes were already blank without any love. What was left was coldness, which was painful to look at. Xian was suddenly enlightened. Her lips twitched as she felt bitterly remorseful. She regretted choosing Zhao Yao when she already knew well that he had a tigress at home, just because she wanted a better life. If only she had known that this day would come, she would rather have stayed with Qing Yuan. That would be better than being bullied by others. Master Zhao. Xian turned to look at Zhao Yao and laughed hysterically. After all, we have done it so many times. Have you forgotten how you were praising me when we were in bed? You also mentioned that the tigress at home doesn't spark any interest in you at all. How can you leave me to fend for myself now? Zhao Yao was already in a tough situation now, but even he was not. He would never let go of Xian. Chapter 652. 652 Xian. You're such a vicious woman. Am I not treating you good enough? Everything you have asked for, I've given it to you. Have I done anything wrong to you? Why do you malign me? Zhao Yao gritted his teeth tightly. If you've told me earlier that Feng Ruqing is Feng Yun Manor's lady, I would never have dared to hurt or trouble her. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao stared at Fei Shui sadly as soon as he finished speaking. Swear, it's Xian who has put me up to this. It was she who instigated me to tell you that Feng Ruqing took away the Tier 5 spirit beast when she failed to seduce me. It was all Xian. Fei Shui was so angry as she slapped and forcefully pressed Xian's head against the wall. Bitch, you wanted to kill me and destroy my whole Talon's Gate? That was Feng Yun Manor's lady. If she had really listened to Zhao Yao and wanted to trouble Feng Ruqing, Feng Yun Manor would definitely take revenge on Talon's Gate soon. Fei Shui suddenly came to her senses and said, Now I get it. You purposely hid Feng Ruqing's identity because you wanted me to get on with her. If I killed her, then Feng Yun Manor will kill me. What a brilliant trick of killing two birds with one stone. If the people of Feng Yun Manor did not arrive then, I would have really been fooled by you. Sponsored content. Qing Yuan looked at Fei Shui coldly. If Fei Shui really got fooled, Talon's Gate would no doubt be destroyed. However, for Manor Lady, she would still remain unharmed. A Talon's Gate wife was not capable of hurting her. Bitch. Zhao Yao had also come to his senses at that moment too. He angrily rushed towards Xian. You intentionally want me dead. Do you really think that Talon's Gate will not be in trouble after killing Feng Ruqing? Talon's Gate will be doomed. You, this woman, what the hell is your brain made of? So stupid. Xian's body went stiff. Indeed, she had never considered if that would put Talon's Gate in trouble. For her, it did not matter if Talon's Gate got destroyed since she would find a new man again. Sponsored content. She would not care much since it was not a big deal. However, it was such a pity that the Talon's Gate's people were too useless as they could not kill Feng Ruqing. You guys can't touch her. A clear and cold voice spoke, just as Fei Shui pressed Xian's head against the wall. Elder Tianqi and Hong Yu were coming in at the same time. They were shocked as they first saw Qing Yuan. Then, they started to frown. Qing Yuan. Hong Ye's face was slightly darkened. Sponsored content. Qing Yuan was still love-struck by her even until now. Even though Xian had done so many wrong things, he still wanted to protect her. Qing Yuan, I knew it. I knew that you won't leave me alone. With all those scars on Xian's head, she sounded grateful as tears ran down from her eyes. If you save me this time, I will love you wholeheartedly in the future. Indeed, it was only Qing Yuan who had loved her the most in this world. She knew that Qing Yuan was just frightening her just now. He did not really want to kill her. After all, he still could not bear to see her die. When this matter was over, she would treat Qing Yuan nicely and never abandon him again. Because Qing Yuan stared at Xian coldly. In this world, the only person who can kill her is me. Hong Yu was shocked. She stared at Qing Yuan in disbelief and stiffly turned around to look at Tianqi. Fifth Elder, has the ecstasy that Xian gave to Qing Yuan started to wear off? Why else would Qing Yuan want to kill her? He had been so in love with Xian. What did you say? Xian's eyes widened in disbelief. You really want to kill me? Look carefully, Xian, the woman who you love the most. Chapter 653. 653. Qing Yuan lifted the sword in his hand and walked towards Xian, slowly. Sponsored content. Yuner died because of you. I no longer love you. I did not try to hurt you before as I had to handle her burial. Now that she is resting in peace in her grave, I am here for revenge. You have just met her a few times. Has she actually become so important that your memories of her are more significant than the days we have spent together? You fell for another lady so quickly. Xian's lips were trembling slightly. Originally, Hong Yu did not want to get involved. However, after hearing Xian's words, she merely sneered. Qing Yuan has fallen for another lady? How can you say that? He has sacrificed a lot because of you, but what does he get in the end? How did you treat him? Qing Yuan did not want to waste time with Xian. In a blink of an eye, an overwhelming aura was emitted out of him, dispersing in all directions, turning the whole world cold and dull. Sponsored content. You are still a dark warrior? I thought your strength was weakened? Xian's face stiffened. The manor lady is not a ruthless person after all. Qing Yuan did not know about Feng Ruking's good intentions previously. He had only regained his strength yesterday night. At that moment, he could not help feeling guilty. Feng Ruqing did this as she wanted Qing Yuan to see Xian's true colors. But what had Qing Yuan done? He had betrayed the entire Fengyun clan because of Xian. Even though Qing Yuan knew that Xian had deceived him, he still could not let go of her. If not for Yunar's death, he would never come to his senses. However, this lesson was way too great that he could not handle it. Sponsored content. Why did it turn out to be like this? Xian took a few steps backward as she clenched her fists tightly. If Qing Yuan's strength was not weakened, Xian would never have run into Zhao Yao's arms, and she would still have a man who loved her with all his heart. It is all Feng Ruking's fault. It is all because of Feng Ruqing. You are blaming Manor Lady, aren't you? Have you ever wondered why you would fall into such a sorry state? If you did not call off the marriage with Nailan Jing, the lady of Fengyun clan would be your aunt by now. If you did not dump Qing Yuan, no matter what Manor Lady does, it will never affect you. Hong Yu merely smirked. Hence, you reap what you sow. It's your own fault. Hong Yu raised her eyes. Sponsored content. Xian's body slumped to the ground. Her face was filled with despair. Hong Yu was right. If Xian did not call off the arranged marriage, she would be the wife of Lady of Fengyun clan's nephew. Xian, you should thank me. If I don't kill you, many men out there would try to hurt you. They would never let you die so easily. Qing Yuan stood before Xian. A glimmer of wickedness flickered in his eyes. A sword slid through Xian's throat. Blood immediately oozed from the cut. Xian fell down slowly into the pool of blood. Her eyes were filled with reluctance. She was rightly served. Simply no one present felt sympathy for her. Qing Yuan turned to look at Zhao Yao. His eyes were burning with rage. A sense of ferocity surged from his body. Xian is dead. You're the next. Qing Yuan would never let go of anyone who had killed Yunar. Hearing this, the corner of Fei Shue's lips trembled slightly, but she did not stop Qing Yuan. She was caught in a dilemma between the man who had betrayed her many times and Talon's Gate, which embodied her father's painstaking effort. Naturally, she could not mess with Fengyun clan because of this man and put the entire Talon's Gate into trouble. Chapter 654. 654 No. Sponsored content. A hint of panic crept into Zhao Yao's eyes. He quickly rushed over and pounced on Fei Shue's feet as he sobbed and begged. Shuer, please don't ignore me. I really love you. Please save me. Please. Fei Shue's body stiffened a little. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. She slowly closed her eyes and only opened them after a long while. You reap what you sow. I can't do anything. Hearing this, Zhao Yao completely lost hope. He collapsed to the ground and stared at Fei Shue in disbelief. Sponsored content. A day together as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of our lives. We have been married for so many years. How can you turn your back on me? Zhao Yao said, after hesitating for a while. Since you know this, do you remember what you have done to me? You have failed me in the first place. You have even trusted this bitch and nearly ruined Talon's Gate. Thinking of the things that Zhao Yao had done, Fei Shue's eyes reddened with rage. Since you have done this, don't get Talon's Gate involved. Fei Shue hated that Zhao Yao had betrayed her, but she could not bring herself to kill him with her own hands. Forget it. Since these people hate Zhao Yao so much, they would never let him off so easily. Fei Shue did not say anything. The corner of her lips lifted a little. She walked past Zhao Yao and headed outside the courtyard. She did not even spare a glance at Zhao Yao. Sponsored content. Zhao Yao raised his head. His eyes were following Fei Shue. His face was drained of color. Then, he turned to look at the people of Fengyun clan. Panic crossed his face as if he would pass out the very next second. Qing Yuan closed his eyes. The moment Yunar had saved and protected him with her own body flashed before his eyes. In a blink of an eye, his eyes were filled with murderous intent, his face indifferent. He lifted the sword in his hand like the Grim Reaper. Technically, Zhao Yao's strength was not inferior to Qing Yuan's. Hence, it was not easy for Qing Yuan to kill Zhao Yao. However, Besides Qing Yuan and Hong Yu, there were a few elders from Fengyun clan present. Sponsored content. The fifth elder Tian Qi was also watching him. Zhao Yao could not move even the slightest bit. He could only look on as the sword pierced through his body. Blood surged out of the wound like a fountain, staining the ground red. Thud. Zhao Yao fell to the ground, lying in a pool of blood. He breathed his last with his eyes wide open. Yuner, I have avenged you. It is a pity that you can no longer see it with your own eyes. Qing Yuan. Hong Yu raised her eyes to look at the young master whose face was full of sorrow. She pursed her lips together before she asked, "Do you want me to beg Manor Lady so you can come back to Fengyun Manor?" Now, Qing Yuan had come to his senses. Without Xian by his side, perhaps the Manor Lady would forgive him. There is no need. I am not going back to Fengyun Manor. I can't leave Yuner alone, up in the mountain. I have buried her in a quiet and tranquil place. That is the place where she had saved my life. I need to keep her company. Hearing Hong Yu's words, Qing Yuan merely smiled sadly and shook his head. Although Hong Yu did not know what had actually happened, she could not help but sigh softly after seeing Qing Yuan's face. Qing Yuan, she has passed away. There is nothing you can do. Please take good care of yourself. Qing Yuan's body stiffened. He raised his head slightly to look at the passing clouds. His voice was filled with pain. Hong Yu, I need to keep Yuner company. However, please let me know if anything happens to Fengyun clan. Chapter 655. The mistress one of Fengyun clan has put in so much effort on me, but I have let her down. I have also failed the Manor Lady and Yuner. I have lost Yuner. I can't afford to lose Fengyun clan too. Even though I am not going back to Fengyun Manor, I am still part of Fengyun clan. Sponsored content. Even if the mistress of Fengyun clan did not forgive him, he would rush back to Fengyun Manor if the clan was in trouble. All right. Hong Yu sighed as she walked toward Qing Yuan. She patted his shoulder and gave him a few words of comfort. Qing Yuan, we will always be your friend. When you have time, come and visit us at Fengyun Manor. Everyone in the clan felt so sad when you had decided to leave Fengyun Manor because of Xian. Sponsored content. Qing Yuan's fists tightened. His eyes were filled with regret. I am sorry. However, there is no point crying over spilled milk. Qing Yuan had left the whole world behind because of Xian. It was worthwhile if only Xian was true to him. However, it turned out that not only was Xian deceiving him for such a long time, but she had also even drawn him away from his family. Qing Yuan was such a fool. Hong Yu, help me to thank the Manor Lady. If not for her, Xian would not have revealed her true colors. Also, I wouldn't have known who my real benefactor is. Qing Yuan raised his eyes. His delicate face seemed sad. I will not do that. You must tell her yourself in the future. The Manor Lady may seem ruthless to those who go against her, but she is gentle and kind, Hong Yu said, anxiously. Sponsored content. I feel embarrassed to meet her. Qing Yuan smiled wryly. Ever since Xian revealed her true colors, Qing Yuan had quickly known that Xian had intentionally stopped him from saving the family of the master of Fengyun clan back then. She had lied to him that Nailan Jing had dumped her. What was more ridiculous was the fact that Qing Yuan had actually trusted her so much that the family of the master of Fengyun clan was nearly killed. How could he face them? If the Manor Lady really hates you, she would never have helped you by only weakening your strength. She had shown you mercy. If you want to thank her, you must do it in person. Hong Yu smiled. Qing Yuan wanted to say something, but he simply stared at Hong Yu without saying anything. Sponsored content. Qing Yuan, when you found a place to stay, don't forget to write me a letter so we could pay you a visit. Hong Yu furrowed her brows as she said, Sure. Qing Yuan smiled with relief. All the dejection in his heart vanished together with Xian. Qing Yuan did not talk further with Hong Yu. He walked toward the fifth elder and took a deep bow. Fifth elder, it's time for me to take my leave. Simply no one was more heartbroken than fifth elder, as he was the one who brought Qing Yuan up. However, seeing Qing Yuan's current situation, he could no longer say anything spiteful. Take good care of yourself after leaving Fengyun Manor. In the future, don't get tricked again. We have always disliked Xian. However, since you were so in love with her, we could not do anything back then. Fortunately, Qing Yuan had woken up. The people of Fengyun clan felt immensely relieved. Qing Yuan will listen to Fifth Elder's advice. Qing Yuan swung his robe, fell to his knees, and kowtowed to the Fifth Elder. The sun shone brilliantly outside. Dressed in a green robe with thick black hair, Qing Yuan got up and walked toward the gate. Chapter 656. Xian's Death. 9. Qing Yuan set out determined, all alone. Simply no one could stop him. Sigh. Will I meet him again in my life? Fifth Elder sighed deeply. He has someone he wants to be with. Perhaps, as long as he stays by her side, even if it is just a grave, he is actually happier than going back to Fengyun Manor, Hong Yu said with a faint smile. She knew that Qing Yuan was seeking forgiveness from the woman, Yuner, in his own way. Hence, she did not stop him. However, Qing Yuan is too soft-hearted. Although he killed Xian, he let her die too easily. Even the Lady of Talon's Gate was more ruthless than him. Hong Ye's eyes fell on Xian slowly. She narrowed her eyes as she said, "That is Qing Yuan. He can never be ruthless to anyone." Cough, cough. Hong Yu, are we going to Luyun Kingdom? Would the manor lady meet me? What if she chases me out of the kingdom? Fifth Elder coughed, seemingly awkward. The manor lady is very gentle. Feng Ruqing was very gentle, especially to the ladies. If you are really afraid of her, put some fake freckles on your face. She will never be mad at you if you do that. That's a good idea. Fifth Elder pondered for a while. All right, I will do that. In order to seek forgiveness from Feng Ruqing, he did not even care for his reputation, let alone his dignity. At the courtyard of the Mu family, a sorrowful voice came from outside the courtyard. Hearing this, Mu Ling, who was comforting Chan Qingyan, frowned. His face turned icy cold. Me for extra chapters. Young Manor Master, please avenge me. Mu Yong stumbled into the courtyard. His pale face was dejected. His eyes were swimming in tears. Where is the black dragon? Seeing Mu Yong rush into the courtyard, Mu Ling's face darkened a few shades. Young Manor Master, the black dragon can speak. Nanxian knows that I am getting the black dragon for Lady Qingyan. Hence, he took the black dragon away. He has even crippled my cultivation because of a lady. He has gone too far. You must avenge me. Mu Yong's face was contorted with rage. Your cultivation is crippled? Although you are my second uncle, you must know that cultivation and strength are of utmost importance in the Mu family. Moreover, you can't even bring the black dragon home. Mu Ling frowned. But I am no match for Nanxian, Mu Yong said, aggrieved. Since he was no match for Nanxian, how could he bring the black dragon back to the Mu family? You can't beat Nanxian? Mu Ling's eyes turned icy cold. It was widely known that Nanxian was a great talent. However, was he actually at the stage where even Mu Yong was no match for him? Brother Ling, if Nanxian wants the black dragon, he can just take it. Xianer only has a green snake by his side all these years. It's natural if he wants to pet a dragon. My health. There is another way to improve my health. Qingyan glimpsed at Mu Yong, who was standing by the side, as she said with a faint smile on her face. What Qingyan truly meant was that Nanxian had actually disregarded Qingyan's health and took the dragon away to be his pet. Sure enough, as soon as Mu Ling heard Chen Qingyan's words, he was burning with anger. He clenched his fist tightly. Veins could be seen bulging on his temples. You have always cared for him, but what has he done? He knows that your health has been declining from caring for the old master, yet he takes your nourishment away. He cares for us. Chapter 657. Mu Yong's eyes lit up as he gritted his teeth tightly. Sponsored content, Young Manor Master. Young Master Nanxian did not pet the black dragon. He took it away because a lady wanted the black dragon. He did it to win the lattice heart. What did you just say? That doomed young rebel took the black dragon away because of a lady? Qingyan is my wife. She is also Nanxian's aunt. He has actually disregarded Qingyan because of a lady? He can't even tell who is more important? Mu Ling's cold eyes pierced into Mu Yong's. His face darkened a few shades. If Nancian took the black dragon away for his own benefits despite the fact that Mu Ling would get mad, he would have never come up to this extent. It was fine if Nancian had crippled Han Feng's cultivation because of a lady, as Han Feng was just a secret guard. However, Qing Yin was his aunt. Mu Ling did not care if Nancian disliked Qing Yin. He also knew that Nancian would stop him from getting the black dragon if Nancian knew that it was meant for Qing Yin. However, he could never sit back when Nancian disregarded Qinjian's health because of a lady. Sponsored content. Mu Ling would never interfere with the conflict between Nancian and Mu Shi. Otherwise, he would not warn Mu Shi not to mess with Feng Ruqing. Mu Ling felt that it was absolutely fine if Nancian only cared about Suyi and had left the Mu family for years. Nancian even gave Qing Yin the cold shoulder. However, Nancian must not put Qing Yin into trouble just because of a lady. Mu Ling, don't blame Xiener. Since I am not Sister Suyi, it is natural that Xiener doesn't care about me. After all, he is Sister Suyi's son. He only needs to care about Sister Suyi. Chun Qingyin held onto Mu Ling's hand as she smiled wryly. Her face was drained of color. Seeing Chen Qinjian's hands were shivering but still pretending to be strong, Mu Ling's heart was broken. Sponsored content. Qingyin. Nancian is my son, and you are my wife. Hence, he must respect you. It's fine if Suyi is the person he cares about the most, but you must be the second person he cares for. Not to mention that he did this to you because of a lady. He can't even make sarcastic remarks when talking to you. Mu Ling knew that Nancian had held grudges against the Mu family for years. Hence, he did not stop Nancian for being so cold to everyone in the Mu family. However, this time, Mu Ling would never allow Nancian to do this. Since Nancian was Mu Ling's son, he must learn to respect his wife. Brother Ling, you know Xiener very well. You want him to come back to the Mu family, don't you? You can't be too strict with him. Don't worry about me. The Mu family is more important. Don't go against him. Chun Qingyin smiled as she shook her head. Sponsored content. Originally, Mu Ling was burning with rage. However, after listening to Qingyin, he gradually regained his composure. Qingyin, you have sacrificed a lot for the Mu family. It must be very hard for you. Mu Ling tightened his grip on Qinjian's hands. Chun Qingyin lowered her eyes and buried her head into Mu Ling's embrace bashfully. The corner of her lips curved into a faint smile. That's nothing. You are the person I love the most and my eternal salvation. Moreover, Sister Suyi is so in love with you. It is only natural that she holds grudges against me. I feel so bad for both of you. It's all because of me. So, I will treat Xiener better. Chun Qingyin raised her head. Her eyes were filled with helplessness and grievances. However, Xiener has never given me any chance. I really hope that both of them will come back to the Mu family so that I can make up to them. Chapter 658. Slightly startled, Mu Ling's eyes were full of dejection. A sense of bitterness crept onto his lips. Sponsored content. Suyi. She will only be back if you move out. However, you have sacrificed too much for the Mu family. How can I let you go? Sister Suyi said so? I know that she doesn't want me to stay here. Brother Ling, don't worry. As long as you can always come and visit me, I will move out when she comes back, Qingyin said with a weak smile, her body stiff. Because you are the only family member I have in this world. Qinjian's eyes were filled with pain as she held tightly onto Mu Ling's hand. It would be so great if Suyi could be as thoughtful as you. I have been extremely patient in giving her too much affection. However, she never appreciates the things that I have done. She is spoiled and inconsiderate. Mu Ling smiled bitterly. His hand on Chun Qinjian's back stiffened. Sponsored content. Chen Qingyin rubbed her palm forcefully. When Mu Ling did not notice, a glimmer of wickedness flashed in her eyes. It was true that Mu Ling was patient enough with Suyi. No matter how bratty Suyi was and how much trouble she brought, Mu Ling had never, even the slightest bit, blamed her. As for Qingyin, she had come into Mu Ling's life way before Suyi. If the old master did not stop Mu Ling from marrying her, Suyi could have never stepped into the Mu family. Nevertheless, Qingyan must be gentle and considerate in order to capture Mu Ling's heart. It was such an irony of fate. Sponsored content. Chan Qingyan's face was ghastly pale. She could feel a stinging sensation at her heart, as if it was pricked by a needle. Her once smiling face turned gloomy. She faked a smile, but her eyes were filled with desolation. Brother Ling, since Xiener has fallen for someone out there, why don't you just let him marry her? I've tasked Han Feng to approach that lady and to offer her to be Nan Xian's concubine, but she has rejected. Mu Ling was slightly startled. Perhaps that lady knows who Xiener actually is. Since Xiener is so in love with her, naturally, being a concubine is not good enough for her. I know that you want to make the manor lady of Tian Shan Manor Nan Xian's first wife. Why don't you make that lady Nan Xian's seshi? Chun Qingyan said, smilingly. Sponsored content. Not only was the manor lady of Tian Shan Manor ugly, but she was also extremely domineering. If she knew that an ordinary lady would become Nan Xian's seshi, perhaps she would call off the marriage with Nan Xian in a fit of anger. Nan Xian must not marry the manor lady of Tian Shan Manor. It was not good for Qingyan's son, Mu Shi. Feng Ruqing is so greedy. Would she accept being a seshi? Mu Ling asked, after pondering for a while. We can tell her the pros and cons of this choice. Without the consent of the Mu family, she could never marry Xiener. If she is smart, she would know what to choose. But Sui likes that lady. She warned Han Feng before. If we send someone over to look for Feng Ruqing again, we are messing with Sui. Mu Ling sighed, dejectedly. Sui was still hot-tempered as she always was. Mu Ling could ignore Nan Xian's feelings, but he could never disregard Suyi's. Brother Ling, do you think Sister Sui would harm Xiener? Chun Qingyan rested her head on Mu Ling's shoulder with a faint smile on her face. What do you mean? Mu Ling merely frowned. I'm Xiener's aunt, but I care for him. Sister Suyi is Xiener's biological mother. Naturally, she would never harm him. Chun Qingyan's body seemed very fragile. She leaned heavily against Mu Ling's body and could not seem to stand up straight. Chapter 659. In fact, Sister Suyi is just cutting off her nose to spite her face. She doesn't know that everything that you do it for Xiener. She will only do more harm than good to Xiener. Chun Qingyan sighed softly and continued, but I believe that she loves Xiener. As long as you explain to her, she will understand your good intentions. Sponsored content. In other words, if Sui insisted, then she truly intended to harm Nan Xian. Chun Qingyan's lips lifted a little. She had made herself very clear. Mu Ling was not a fool. Naturally, he understood Qingyan's words. One was an aunt who truly cared for Nan Xian and always put his well-being first. Another one was a mother who insisted to do something in a fit of anger and had never cared for her own son. Mu Ling frowned deeper and deeper. His face had darkened a few shades. Qingyan, stop talking about this. Suyi, I know her very well. No matter what she does, she will never harm Nan Xian. Hearing this, Chun Qingyan's face stiffened. She pursed her lips tightly. Her eyes were flooded with tears. Sponsored content. Brother Ling, you are right. I have gone too far. I am not saying that Sister Suyi is heartless. I am just worried about Xiener's marriage. If I don't care about Xiener, I would have suggested for the manor lady of Tian Shan Manor to be Xiener's wife. But I didn't do that. Seeing Chun Qingyan's aggrieved face, Mu Ling's face softened. I know you care for Xiener, but Sui will never harm him. However, you have reminded me that I must tell Sui the pros and cons of the things I do. She will understand me. Everything that Mu Ling did, he did it for Nan Xian. However, both Sui and Nan Xian did not get him. When Mu Ling turned his head around, Mu Yong was still standing there. What are you doing here? Mu Ling frowned. His face darkened a few shades. Sponsored content. Nan Xian wants me to tell you. Mu Yong's face was drained of color. What is it? He said that he will wait for you in Luyan Kingdom. Exploding with rage, Mu Ling slammed his hand down on the table and sent the table flying in through the air. If this doomed young rascal wants to see me, come back to the Mu family. I am his father. Does he actually want me to look for him? Sponsored content. The corner of Mu Yong's lips trembled slightly. He was not surprised by Mu Ling's reaction. However, Nancian was not asking Mu Ling to see him. He was threatening Mu Ling. Young manor master. Young manor master. The old master is sick again. He wants Lady Suyi to come back. What should I do? Someone stumbled into the courtyard, anxiously. This old man never learns to stop stirring up trouble. Mu Ling reached out to rub his temple. Also, I don't know why the spiritual qi of the old master is depleting. His strength is also declining. The young servant's face was pale. What did you say? Mu Ling got up from the stone bench and grabbed the edge of the young servant's robe. What did you just say? His spiritual qi is depleting. His strength is declining? Previously, Mu Ling had always wanted to surpass the old master so he could be in charge of the entire Mu family. When Mu Ling was no longer under the old master's command, Qingyin could live a better life. However, he never wanted the old master's strength to decline. If that really happened, the Mu family could hardly keep its current footing in Tianxin clan. No one is allowed to talk about this. Kill those who spread this around. Mu Ling quickly regained his consciousness and snarled. Shouldn't we look for a renowned physician to treat the old master? The young servant was stunned by Mu Ling's sudden outburst. Chapter 660 Qingyin. Get Mu Huan to come back. Huaner is the disciple of Grandmaster Hairong. She must have improved a lot. Get her to treat the old master. Sponsored content currently, Qingyin was the only one who could help the old master. Mu Huan would never allow other physicians to treat him. Chun Qingyin closed her eyes to hide the emotions in her eyes. All right, Brother Ling. I will write Huaner a letter to ask her to come back. The smile on Qingyian's face faded. Mu Ling subconsciously quickened his steps anxiously and left the courtyard. Walking on a bustling street in Lu Yun Kingdom, naturally, Sui did not know the things that happened back in the Mu family. Sponsored content. All of a sudden, Sui paused. Her eyes swept past the crowd on the street and fell on an enchantingly handsome young man. Dressed in a snowy white robe, he looked extremely cold and aloof, just like a deity that had descended from the sky. His face was covered with a thin layer of frosty light. When he saw the devastatingly stunning lady standing in the crowd, he frowned, but his voice was still calm and tranquil. Why are you here? Seeing Nancian, Sui's face changed in a flash. She looked at Nancian in his eyes. She was no longer calm and composed as she had always been. You dirty swine, Sui said, coldly. Before Nancian could react, Sui turned to leave. Her face was extremely cold. She did not even spare another glance at Nancian. Sui had only managed to take a few steps forward. The young master in the snowy white robe quickly stopped her and walked toward her slowly. Sponsored content. What do you mean? You know very clearly what you have done. I have never thought that you were such a bastard. How old was Feng Ruching a few years ago? I can't believe that you have done this to her. What? A few years ago? That is the matter between Qinger and me. Sui knew that Feng Ruching was the reason Nancian had come to Lu Yun Kingdom. Even so, Nancian was not here for the old Feng Ruching. He was here for the current Feng Ruching. Sponsored content. So, you admit it? Sui's face was even colder now. That's nothing wrong to admit to. Nancian smiled, carefreely. Then why did you allow her to be married to another young man? Sui moved closer to Nancian. I didn't like her back then. The old Feng Ruching was not the one Nancian was waiting for. Hence, whoever she wanted to marry back then had nothing to do with him. He had even thought that he had come to the wrong place. Until the day Nancian met Feng Ruching in the southern bamboo grove. He knew that the lady he had been waiting for was finally here. Hence, he never allowed Lu Yuchen to get close to her since. Sui was speechless. He didn't like her? He didn't like her, but she had two of his kids? Had it not been for Sui's high degree of self-control, she could never have stand Nancian. Sui's chest was heaving, her hands balled into fists. Not long after, a gorgeous smile crept across her elegant face. Nancian, I would take her with me back to Cloud Mountain. I will change all the formations, and you can never step into the mountain again. She will not go with you. Nancian said, earnestly. His face was calm and tranquil. I heard that she loves beautiful things. Nancian, what do you think of me? Will she love me? Will she go with me? You are too old for her. She won't like you. Nancian's eyes were icy cold as he replied, derisively. Chapter 661. Oh? The last time I met her, she made a pass at me. I thought that, Suyi said in bewilderment. Sponsored content, Nancian's face darkened. An icy cold aura emitted from him and turned the surrounding air turned cold. You should go back. I will go back if she comes with me. Suyi sneered. If you are here, it's hard for us to have kids, Nancian said. His face was cold and aloof. I already have a granddaughter and grandson. I am fine if there are just 2 of them, Suyi said, contemptuously. Since when do you have grandchildren? Nancian could feel that something was wrong as he asked. Sponsored content, bastard. How can you say this? Both Fuchin and Qinghan are your kids, but you are actually saying that you don't like Qinger back then. You have just admitted it just now. I don't care why Qinger forgives you. I must take her away. Suyi's cold gaze pierced Nancian's eyes. Nancian sank into silence. He thought that Suyi had found out that Nancian came to Luyun Kingdom because of Fengruching. He had never thought that Suyi was actually talking about the 2 spirit herbs. Just as Suyi wanted to continue rebuking Nancian, a carefree voice spoke. Both of them are spirit herbs that have turned into human form. As soon as Nancian finished his words, Suyi's body stiffened. She stared at Nancian, startled. They are spirit herbs, not your kids with Qinger? No. Sponsored content, you truly didn't do something evil? Suyi could not believe the things that Nancian had said. I am not Mu Ling and Qinger is not you. Nancian stared at Suyi nonchalantly. You can just clear the air without mentioning that asshole. Even if you want to talk about that asshole, why are you getting me involved? Suyi was dumbstruck by Nancian's words. Suyi was blind back then, but she would never be blind ever again. Ah, I feel relieved to hear this. If there is nothing else, I need to go back to the Princess Manor. Qinghan is waiting for me to buy her some cookies. With a faint smile on her face, Suyi felt immensely relieved. Just as she walked past Nancian, Nancian raised his arm to stop her. Sponsored content, go back to the mountain. I'm your mother. Suyi narrowed her eyes. Go back or cover your face. Don't let Qinger see it. Why? Suyi asked, calmly. Nancian did not say anything. What else could he say? Fengruching loved any beauty regardless of age. Fengruching was surrounded by 2 many lady servants who were eyeing for her. Later on, Zhoming, who was interested in her, also came into the picture. Now, Nancian even had to keep an eye on his own mother. It seems that Qinger doesn't know about our relationship. You didn't tell her, did you? Nancian asked, blandly. You're right. We look quite alike. If she stays with you for too long, she might know of our relationship. Hearing this, Suyi was slightly startled. Nancian was right. As Nancian was Suyi's son, it was natural that he looked like her. If Fengruching found out about it, how could Suyi explain it to her? The Mu family was such a toxic place that Suyi did not want to talk even the slightest bit about it. If Fengruching asked her about Nancian's father, Suyi simply did not know how to explain it to her. Moreover, Suyi did not want to tell a lie. In fact, Suyi did not know that Fengruching had already known the relationship between Nancian and the Mu family. She had even met Mu Yong in the forest of spirit beasts. Chapter 662. She did not know anything about that. Therefore, what Nancian said seemed to spark some ideas in her. Sponsored content, what if? I have some freckles on my face too? It seems that having freckles on one's face is the trend now in Luyun Kingdom. What if? I have some on my face? All right. Nancian calmed down. Nobody seemed to notice that he had just exhaled in relief. Hence, Fengruching was having the shock of her life when Suyi returned to the Princess Manor. She was so shocked that she dropped the book in her hand. She looked at the face that was covered in freckles. She was stunned. What are you doing? Oh. Suyi touched the freckles on her face. She said calmly, I went out and got this. Am infected by the others. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing was speechless. It's the first time that I have heard of this, that one can get infected by freckles. Suyi seemed not to notice Feng Ruqing's astonishment. She walked into the manor. Feng Ruqing turned her head gingerly and looked at the only ordinary girls in her manor. What's wrong with these people recently? Qing Ling blinked. She was confused. It might be a trend. Luli, what if we get some freckles on our faces too? Luli did not know how to respond to that. Feng Ruqing inhaled deeply. Please don't do that. Sponsored content. My beautiful people. Young lady, embark. At that moment, Hong Ye's voice was heard. Feng Ruqing raised her head and looked. She soon saw a girl in green clothes who was walking toward them with a smile on her face. Feng Ruqing was about to greet Hong Yu, but all of a sudden, a wrinkled face came rushing toward her. He opened his hands widely and was about to hug Feng Ruqing's legs. But that face was covered with a lot of freckles. She had never seen anybody with so many freckles. Soon, Feng Ruqing was having goosebumps. She stretched out her leg and kicked at that old face without any hesitation. Who are you? Get lost. Perhaps she has trypophobia? Sponsored content. Fifth Elder did not have time to say anything before receiving a kick from Feng Ruqing. There was a footprint on his face. He was greatly wronged. Manor lady, am Fifth Elder of Fengyun clan. Fifth Elder? Feng Ruqing recovered her senses. She laughed awkwardly. I'm sorry. Your face is just too scary. I couldn't bear it. Fifth Elder turned his head gingerly. You said that I'm ugly? There were so many girls after me when I was young. There were so many of them that they would line up for me from this mountain to the other. Am I that ugly? Feng Ruqing glanced sympathetically at Fifth Elder's face that was covered in freckles. Don't you know about that yourself? She was still frightened now. She was not calm yet. Fifth Elder's facial expression changed. He looked like he had just received a big blow. He turned and looked at Hong Yu. Am I really that ugly? Hong Yu was standing beside Feng Ruqing now. She replied, solemnly, Young lady said that you're ugly, so it must be true. She can't ever be wrong. Just accept it. Fifth Elder's lips twitched. He had a sudden urge to burst out crying. He wiped away his sad tears and got up from the floor sadly. You're right. Can you forgive me given that I'm so ugly? Forgive you? Feng Ruqing was slightly surprised. She straightened her body. Did you burn Fengyun Manor? No. Did you steal my mother's spirit herbs? No. Feng Ruqing was confused. She frowned. Then, why are you asking for my forgiveness? Chapter 663. Fifth Elder was silent. Sponsored content. He turned to look at Hong Yu. Did our manor lady know nothing about that? Hong Yu raised her eyebrows. She smiled and looked at Feng Ruqing. Young lady, Tang Yu could do whatever she wanted before in Fengyun Manor because Fifth Elder was so stupid. He believed whatever she had told him. So, he is here today just to ask for your forgiveness. Oh, Feng Ruqing understood now. You came to ask for my forgiveness. How dare you come and frighten me? Are you really asking for my forgiveness? Or do you just want to frighten me because you're unhappy with me? Fifth Elder seemed so sad. I don't have that intention. No. Feng Ruqing sneered and walked toward Fifth Elder. It was unknown as to what kind of things she had put in her hand. She rubbed it on Fifth Elder's face. Then, she showed Fifth Elder her finger. Then, why did you put so many freckles on your face? Are you not trying to frighten me? The others only put some freckles on their faces. But Fifth Elder's face is covered in them. Isn't he trying to frighten me? Fifth Elder turned his head skeptically and glanced at Hong Yu gingerly. Sponsored content, young lady. Hong Yu did not give any time for Fifth Elder to say anything more. She said, solemnly, how daring of Fifth Elder to do so. What if we punished him? Ask him to go and clean up the latrine? Fifth Elder was extremely shocked. Hong Yu. Hong Yu remained calm and serene, but she was nervous. She thought that Feng Ruqing would adore the freckles, but she did not know why Feng Ruqing was infuriated. Maybe it's because Fifth Elder is an old man. Not only is he a male, but he is also an old man. Are those the reasons why the young lady is unhappy? That must be it. Sponsored content. Young lady adores freckles. She would never be angry because of them. It must be because of Fifth Elder's ugliness. Young lady, better ask Fifth Elder to hurry up and clean up the latrine. If not, you'll be frightened out of your wits. Hongyu. At last, Fifth Elder realized that he had been wronged. He scolded angrily. Read the next chapter on our VIP novel. This girl seemed nice and serious. How dare she puts the blame on me instead? Hongyu is right. You better leave now. Feng Ruqing puckered her lips a little. If the state preceptor comes and meets me, he'll be frightened by you too. If that's the case, you better be prepared to clean up the latrine for a year. Fifth Elder disappeared like a breeze after listening to what Feng Ruqing had said. He ran away like lightning. Feng Ruqing patted her own chest. Finally, he's gone. If he ever comes to meet me in that state again, I'll never meet him anymore. Sponsored content. Chinger. Sui came in from the backyard. She smiled softly and walked toward Feng Ruqing slowly. Did someone annoy you just now? Feng Ruqing was in great pain when she saw Sui's face. My beautiful people, why is everyone like that? It seems that they adore freckles so much, but I can't even voice out against that just in case I hurt their feelings. Sui. Feng Ruqing was hesitant. Yes? Sui looked at her, surprised. Nothing. Feng Ruqing sighed softly. Let's forget about it. If Sui likes herself that way, then I shall respect her choices. Oh, that's right. You still haven't told me what kind of things you like. Sui smiled. I still haven't given you anything as a gift when I first met you. But, Nan, the White Phoenix told me that I can ask you directly. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.